Yeah,
that's
I've
cool.
noticed. Ooh.
No, I like the traditions. I like the log splitting.
Yeah.
I like the fire lighting. I like the shushing of the dog.
Yeah.
Every time.
All the things.
This is my Dave Portnoy way of saying that you already popped your top.
How's it feel being...
It's a rookie move, dude. It's a rookie move.
That's a rookie
We're
move.
being
That's a rookie
formal.
move. Half the people, whenever we bring on a guest, they crack it. We're like,
It's a rookie move.
wait.
I was premature, which is not rare. It's not rare.
I hear it happens as you get older.
Oh, 100%. So what's it like, boys, running like the biggest podcast in the space? I feel
not
like
the
you
biggest
guys do. It's big, though.
We just have fun.
You guys do
I still
numbers.
don't know how to measure that effectively.
I just see your
personally.
numbers versus other people. I'm like, these guys are doing numbers. Like, it's cool.
It appears so.
So
Tim's probably
when
better
you
about
start
this
a
than me.
podcast, to me, this is what you would hope to be able to do. Is just like hang out with your friends and chat.
Yep.
So shout out to that, guys.
Yeah, but how do you make that interesting to people where they're like, I just want to sit with your friends and just hang out and chat?
I don't know. You got to be an interesting enough friend or whatever.
Ooh, okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the conversation has to be intriguing enough for people to want to listen or entertaining enough. So it's either got to be like either extreme or engaging or
experts in
intellectual
the space.
or experts in the space or already have a pretty decent following to where they want to listen to you talk about stuff.
That's true.
So I don't know what really gained us the traction that it did over such a quick time. I mean, obviously there's a quality to what we're doing, which is largely Tim's direction. And I like to think that there's intriguing conversation and there's knowledge that you're not going to, like if you're trying to make a video or something about something, it's kind of hard to just sit there and just randomly talk about it. Yeah. But when you randomly talk about stuff, you get a better story. Yeah. Right? You get a better in-depth
more
of what you're talking
authentic.
about. It's real.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that our society doesn't have. Like we have nothing real almost anymore.
Yeah, I think that's partly why podcasts got so popular. Is like we're lacking face-to-face conversation, so that's a way to supplement it.
Yeah.
Right? You can pop it in your ear and listen to people talk like they would have talked 50 years ago.
It is truly weird to be like, hey, let's all go sit on the couch together and just look in each other's eyes and talk for an hour.
Yeah.
But
it's good. In
but
that
it's
way.
awesome.
But we did
human-
it for like 4 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
We just didn't turn a camera on.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do at a dinner or a coffee. Or,
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And to be honest with you, I think like I told you, we don't do the podcast regularly, but when we do, to me, it's like, that's what I should be doing more is just sitting with people and talking.
Yes.
You know, so I think
And it just so
people
happens
kind of
that you
crave
record
it.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See, what I want to do is scroll Twitter and ignore my 4-month-old child and my wife. I just scroll, scroll, and scroll.
Get sucked in.
Yeah, let's
ignoring
get these guys up
reality.
to speed real quick. So we got James Visser, Brandon McDonald, two friends of ours. Now we collaborated, made some content. We're at a guest location, which is cool. San Antonio, Texas, Total Archery Challenge, and we all got together and said, hey, let's rip some arrows and make some content. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how'd that go?
Dude, it was amazing. I want to thank all of you guys just for even doing this
We're
with
one
me
day
because
in.
I always feel like I'm not big enough or like whatever. I have this like survivor's guilt type of thing. And to me, I really do. Like, it's like I don't belong here. But to me, it's cool that, you know, me and Brandon have been friends through Instagram Live, and through that I met you guys. And to meet you all in person and just, it's the same shit. You know, we're having fun and doing what we like to do. And to me, that's amazing. And I'm just like happy to be a part of it and be out here, you know.
Yeah.
Well, for yourself, I mean, you're an authentic human being, and you come across as an authentic human being. So
Appreciate
I wouldn't
that.
say you don't like belong in that, or
Yeah.
you don't. No, that's not a fair assessment of yourself.
No, for
You
sure.
have really authentic content that is just you,
Yeah.
and that belongs. And that's important. So don't sell yourself short on
Are
it.
we
No,
going
I
to talk
mean,
about results from today? I just
Yeah,
want to
it's
make.
going to come out after.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
all
will
right.
be
'Cause
after,
that's.
so
I
you
just
talk
want to
about
make
it.
sure there's
Just to
not
give it-
anything that I'm
yeah.
supposed to not say.
Just to give an update, we're one day in. We did the first shoot today.
Yeah.
We're probably not
And-
supposed to say what we think Tim will do for a certain amount of money. We probably should say that.
This amount's way higher than it really
He keeps
is.
saying he won't, and I don't believe him.
I don't either.
I do not
It's
Nobody
been a
believes
very
it.
strange topic.
Yeah.
conversation.
So,
And
but
the
we
fact
probably
that
have to
keeps
keep that out. That's what I was
The
saying.
fact that keeps circling back is
That's
even
probably
stranger.
for the Patreon or whatever. We're going to
Oh,
start
yeah.
with the nasty crap.
Oh, yeah. We need a Patreon. All of us need a Patreon. There's no question. But
All right.
yeah, shoot.
So
was
James,
blast.
it is funny to me that you were like, I don't know that I belong. When what happened today? Like first group, you were in the winning group.
Yeah.
Second group,
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like when, and I don't mean this to be like cocky or arrogant, but when we chose the groups, I said this is a little bit unfair. I felt like the groups were a little lopsided in the beginning.
It was fate. Fate
It
decided.
could have,
you know.
though. I mean, if Brandon and I shot our best and maybe you guys brought your middle game, we would have won.
Yeah, no, and that's what's cool about
Vegas
archery.
odds probably favored you guys at the start. Yeah.
For sure, but that's what's cool about archery is like a great guy can fall off and someone who's maybe not quite as good regularly can show up and be right there.
Exactly. That's
Well,
me
especially
and
a Total
Josh
Archery
Jones in round
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
A Total Archery challenge.
And we
you
got
know?
to talk about that. Brandon was like, first of all, the results when we got to the last target were way closer than I anticipated
sure.
between everybody.
Yeah, it was cool that it shook out that way.
Yeah, even Tim, because you shot amazing in the second half.
Yeah,
and
thank
I
you.
said that many times.
Do you want to tell
today.
scores? Like, I feel like people that are listening are probably like, that's cool. How did you shoot? Like, what were the actual
Yeah,
scores?
it's going to come out after the video.
Okay,
But
well-
to see the full story, they should go to James's channel and subscribe and check out his content. And then Brandon's as well. That's where the full videos will be posted. And we'll have their content linked right down below or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. But Tim, like, he really turned it around because I felt like your start was pretty
Yeah,
rough.
shaky,
and then
yeah.
it just became so good in the second half. And if you didn't have that 1-0, I'd be interested if we plugged in even just a 5.
If I plugged in a 5,
Where
I
you
was
would
3
be.
points below you. If I plugged in an 8, we tied.
That's close.
Dude, that's nuts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I plugged in a 10, I was picking a dub.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude,
Yeah.
that's crazy to think about.
And even the second to last target, I kind of shanked that shot, took a 5.
Yeah,
Was that that
in the
little
goozle.
Oh, no,
in the
that was
goozle
the-
of the sheep.
That was a little sheep,
Where
yeah.
I shot him in the fluff in front
Oh,
of his
yeah,
throat
you
or
did.
whatever.
Hung on to it barely.
I was lucky to catch
Yeah.
a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't even like
I think
a
one of
hairline
my
5.
favorite targets had to be the last one because there was so much pressure because everyone was right there. And Josh probably did, 5 letdowns?
5 letdowns,
Because the
yeah.
wind was, it was howling.
ghosting.
Yeah, it
And
was.
he
it
had
was
the worst
howling.
luck with wind today. I will say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Every time you stepped up, it was like, here comes the wind.
Worst
I've
luck
been praying for it.
Worst luck with wind, worst luck with judges. What else?
Yeah, that's a contentious topic.
It was a very contentious topic.
But yeah, you can't control any of that, and that's that's
Yeah.
your responsibility to make good choices with. And I didn't want to let down very often
Yeah.
throughout it
Yeah.
because I was like, well, I'm just going to hold up the show. There's
Right.
people coming and whatnot, and let's just shoot it. Doesn't matter. And I could have made better choices in there, and that might have netted a different result. But the last was really rough. Like, drew back, let down 5 times because every
Yeah,
time
there
I
was-
draw back, the wind started howling.
And we were on the bluff, so we were protected for most of the day.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
protected other than the last couple of shots.
When you get on top there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and honestly, I got the same thing on the second to last target. Like, it started howling as
Yeah.
soon as I drew back. Like, every time I draw back, if there was any wind, I was getting it.
Yeah.
And it's just how it works out.
It would be insane. Like, we would all step up and it'd be like relatively okay. He would literally get to the cone and it'd be like, start blowing. I'm like, poor guy, But again, I think that's the fun part about doing the formats we did today.
Yeah.
Is that you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
None of us knew how it was going to shake out.
Yeah.
That's why it's cool to show up and like, all right, let's let it go.
Well,
Let it fly.
you guys had previous experience here. So, Josh, what was your first impression of the course?
It was actually a little more different than I thought it was going to be. Because, we're in Texas. It's flat. Right?
Yeah, what did you expect? Flat?
I didn't expect
theory, it's
nearly as
flat.
much cover, nearly as much terrain. I expected a lot of hallway shots, which I normally don't struggle with at all. Like, you can put a tree right next to the side of and I'll sit there and my pin will sit on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't get in my head traditionally, and a lot of people struggle with hallway shots.
Yeah.
So I expected a lot of that, and we had a decent amount of that, but we had more angles than I actually expected. We really did.
Angles, use of not lanes, but topography.
Yeah, they
Oh,
did a
for
lot
sure.
of topography stuff. There were several targets you couldn't see the vitals.
Because
They
it
put
was
it up
built.
over a hill, and you can see the top of the 10.
Yeah, those
and
were
you got
bonkers.
a hold in the grass, and one of them I hit the grass.
I think
and
we both
kicked.
did on that. Yeah.
Yeah, but my setup was the flattest, and
Yeah.
now if you're slower, you're going to benefit because your arrow's going to rise
Yeah.
and fall more.
So if the
Right.
arrow was
So
heavier,
if the arrow was heavier, yeah, Troy would have done great.
Good
Yeah.
penetration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's for every way you set up something, assemble something, or try to make something an advantage, it can also serve as a disadvantage. It just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Like a really light, fast arrow, if you hit things, is going to miss by more.
Right.
It's going to deflect greater, right? So there's disadvantages there too. So it's all what you're trying to do with it. Like if you were building a smoker round setup where you're shooting like impossible shots, you'd build a Lincoln log.
Yeah.
Like the heaviest, hardest, most durable thing you
Sure.
possibly could, and put feathers on it so it doesn't deflect as much if it hits something.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you would build it. And so what I shoot and the way I shoot serves as multiple benefits in a lot of different formats, but not all of them.
Yeah, but like probably the vast majority of those shots today were benefited by the setup that you have. Fast, light
but
arrow.
The
flat.
arguable, and if you look at my results, I had a lot of left to rights. A lot. And that's wind. That's wind on a lighter arrow.
Really? You think you were getting pushed around that much with those? Interesting.
I figure on average my arrow is 20-25% lighter than yours.
I think veins low key are one of the things that get pushed on too.
Yeah.
Height of
And you
veins,
had really low profile
tall veins.
veins, so yours would probably move less than
Yeah.
mine would.
Yeah.
But my really light arrow is not going to do great in wind.
See, I've always thought that was the thing. They wanted a really skinny arrow, like for
You
stuff
want
like
small
redding.
surface.
Yeah, small surface area
but
that's
not,
going fast.
not the fastest arrow you can build. Because you're going to sacrifice mass, right? And the lighter the mass, the more the push is going to affect by it, right?
That makes sense.
So somebody with a really light arrow is going to have a greater left to right difference on a windy day. And it was windy a lot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't frequently windy where you were standing, but it was windy between you and the target. And I'd say half of my shots today were left to right that I couldn't explain. Like when I shot, I'd be like, what the hell is that far left or that far right?
That's interesting.
And if you watch our groupings as they'd move, mine would almost always move farther, and it was wind. So if I was to redo what I would do today, I would shoot a heavier arrow. I would build it. If I knew what the course was and how it was set up, I would absolutely shoot like 450, 475.
What was the weight of your arrow
somebody
today?
clip that. Make some
340.
TikToks. out of
No
it.
joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would shoot a heavier arrow. You whenever you nick something, you would hit closer to the target. I'd probably still heavy FOC it a lot. Like I'd probably push more into the 15, 17, 18%. So when it does deflect, the extra mass weight in the front doesn't let it move as far.
You would just shoot my arrow, is what
I
you're
would
saying.
shoot very similar, probably, but I'm not a massive fan of a 2-3 hybrid because anytime I've tried to really tune it well, I see more.
I still have that. Like, I think on probably half the arrows, because I marked them, and then I took the good half and I was shooting those. But I definitely noticed that, and I fletched some at a like a super heavy helical to start with, and I was getting parachuting.
Yeah.
So then I went back to a 2 degree. I think they may be a 2 or a 3 degree, and they still flew consistent. But what I noticed was my groups, just in general, my groups downrange were much tighter than with the super heavy
So
helical.
what's interesting with that, if you're getting parachuting, yes, I agree. Your group's probably going to open up. But the interesting thing is, I see parachuting on that shape of vein, but I don't see it on square veins.
Okay, so like because you're shooting the DCA.
The sabers, don't
Yeah.
see it at all. Like I had 2-3 hybrids and DCA minis last August when I was trying to set up my long distance stuff, and you could shoot both of them side by side, and one would do this, and the other one wouldn't, and everything else was exactly the
Oh,
same.
that's fascinating.
Yeah. So
Do you think that I've
of
always
choice.
wondered about this, like just the air that's hitting the tip of the actual arrow and then just being displaced? Is it actually just going around, and so basically you have like this air void around the shaft?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
Little bit.
and then the DCAs, the little, like whatever blazers or taller veins are actually still catching better.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I
that
think
makes
that's
sense.
the case.
That makes sense.
And I think the angle that vein comes out at, any wind or any surface that's coming up to it starts it to deflect at a more gradual way before it gets to the height.
Well,
Okay.
I like the rocket ship parallel with that vein.
Yeah,
Like it's got the rocket ship kind of build.
yeah.
I wish I could have got him to stick because I would have freaking used
I don't
them.
know how you could.
I know everybody
It's
else.
one of the
today was
easiest
using
sticking veins I've ever used.
Everybody who's using them had
It's
no
got
problems.
it's got a great base and a great glue channel.
Yeah.
And just great stability. I know Aaron
Easier
Snyder
to-
did his freaking full-on test, and that's
Yeah.
the vein he thought was
Easier
the
to
best.
stick than the SK2.
And they are quiet. Like
They're-
you stand down range and have somebody shoot past you, it's quiet.
I fletched a dozen with the full size, and I shot them against the AAE stealths, and I put a mic at 60 yards and shot directly over it, and they were quieter than the stealths.
Yeah.
And they were more stable, and I loved them. And I haven't been able to get them to stick to my damn arrows ever since. All right, that doesn't mean that
That just means you're bad at fletching
That's
arrows.
what I'm saying. I don't think it's DCA's
Or you got a
fault.
bad batch, maybe. Who knows?
I don't
Oh,
know.
well, you said you were using his primer pen, right?
Yeah, well,
Maybe that's
I
got something
tried.
to do
So
with it.
I used 3 different versions of it, though. I had the pink, the green, and the white in the minis, and all of them. So that's what
Sticking onto what?
just carbon on the Victory
Rip
the
TKO?
rip TKOs.
Oh yeah, we do that all the time. No problem.
I know. That's what you. I know.
Well,
I'm
we're on the equipment rabbit hole real quick. Let's go through one thing that you liked about your gear, one thing you would change.
That's a good question.
Gear or form, because I kind of have a form thing that actually helped me. So
Just start in the corner and go around? Or what?
it don't matter. You got something on your mind that you know?
I'll
No?
wait.
Yeah.
I don't
I can
know.
go first.
Yeah,
I can go first.
Yeah, go first.
I liked adding the weight to my bars in leading up to this. It definitely helps my flow. My flow gets erratic. It gets jerky. You know, if I want to be better at archery, I need to learn to aim better. And I think that's a lot of practice and probably drill work. Continuing to work on my form, but adding weight to my bars definitely makes my float slower. And that helps. It just helps my bow hold. I don't have a ton of weight on it, and honestly, I would consider going more, not less. And then the other thing is, at the halfway point, I kind of realized, and I hit a groove the other day on the 3D course at home, was like, I'm always trying to suck my shoulder down, but sometimes I kind of draw high, and I'm trying to suck it down when I shoot. And the other day, I hit a groove on the 3D course when I sucked my shoulder down and then drew, and it was like it just placed it in a better position to start from. And that was the difference for me today between like the front 12 and the back 12, was like I remembered to suck my shoulder down early, and it just kind of changed the pressure in the bow a little bit, and definitely helped me break off cleaner shots on the backside. And I mean, it was evident in my score big time.
Oh yeah, big time.
Hugely.
But honestly, my front nine score was the worst it could have been, because I made a couple good shots where I hit branches, and I'm just like, what was going on?
That was something I was going to bring
Yeah.
up
So
too.
maybe-
We'll get into that.
Yeah,
but,
maybe if I wanted to change things, I could go lighter too with my arrow. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I guess we'll hop into it, but like, you were the only person, I think, that hit limbs other than us hitting grass that one time, and you hit 3 or 4.
And I was shooting a 425 arrow, which a very traditional hunting arrow for me.
Was
Yeah,
70
so it's like
pounds?
the same weight as me.
70 pounds. It was probably like a 290 FPS kind of setup.
That's weird. That's not that much different from what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It takes a matter of a half of an inch difference.
And it could have been-
And I
could-
may have just
right?
been seeing
And it
stuff
could have
and
been where I
moving
set up,
slightly
too,
around.
like-
it.
Yeah, you might have
Exactly.
seen
I
it
might
where
have.
he did.
Yep.
I might have set. Yeah, I was just.
I
I may have been
always-
a little less aware of my lanes. Like when we started, it was dark and flat lighting too. By the way.
That's
oh,
true.
The
Yeah,
lighting,
Yeah, I could.
The
The
lighting
first
was
4 or
tougher.
5.
Like,
Yeah,
it
first
was,
4 or 5 targets, I couldn't even
Yeah.
see.
Well,
Them.
we got started at 6:45 in the morning,
Yeah.
and it literally we didn't even get to practice because it was dark. And then it was like, all right, get in the thing, go to the place, get on T1, and it was super dark.
Yeah, how about you? You had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, so for me, it wouldn't be any gear stuff. I'm really happy with all of my gear, and I feel like my gear can outperform me. So if I'm doing poorly, I think it's me. I don't think it's the gear. That's just like always how I've been. But for me, pushing into the front arm, like really
it's windy?
pushing anytime.
Okay.
Like if I get in any sort of slump and I just focus in my head to go like push the shit out of the bow into the front end, I'll get a lot better. And so for me, I think anyone who's struggling in 3Ds, just like click it in your head and go, just push hard. As Bruce says, like try to break the bow in half, which sounds crazy, but I think it's actually a pretty good
Most people don't
analogy.
have too much pressure.
Yeah,
they don't-
not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
So
Not
for
too
me,
much.
it would just be creating more pressure.
Well,
I
I'm going to
guess.
throw in a little bonus for you. By the way, you're kind of my hype man today.
Yeah,
So I
I'll do
appreciate
it.
that.
For sure.
I might
Dude.
keep you around. For
No,
that, you know?
for sure. No, dude. I was stoked to see you out there, dude. You're killing it.
So, today was pretty windy,
Yeah.
and you're a command shooter for the most part.
Yeah.
So, advantage to the command shooter in the wind a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would say like I would say I was a command shooter pretty much my whole life until the YouTube trolls came in, and then I started doing the surprise breaks and the command. So I do both things. But today it was like a lot of we talked about it in the bus, but like Bruce, he always says that he calls himself a 90-10 shooter. Like he builds 90% of the pressure
I'm
and
into
then
this,
might
yeah.
10% command, and I think that is what I do the majority of the time. Like I build a lot of pressure because I told you like I come around, touch my finger, and then just like create some rotation, and then the hand flex can send her off for that 10%.
Yeah, your shot goes off super fast compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
You know.
And
Yeah.
in a windy situation, that's
It's good. Yeah, you settle.
Well,
your
I mean,
aim
you're
and
not
you let it
getting,
rip,
you're
chitter
also
chip.
not getting, you're not running out of oxygen. Where at the end of the shot, you're starting to shake
Sure.
and all that kind of
That's
stuff.
one of my weaknesses. I take too long to shoot.
You do take a long time.
And we talked
on
about
my
it
bad shots, that's what happens.
Yeah, we talked about it today on the bus too, and I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it because we already talked about it a bit. But like, for me, when I see a lot of people struggle, usually it's because they're holding their draw way too long, and I can see their movement start to go from here to like here, and that's when the shot breaks. And I think a lot of people drop a lot of points because of that. I don't know if you've noticed that
Yeah, I mean,
or have experienced it.
No, I think that makes sense for sure. Like, I think that my worst shots are probably when I've held for 3 or 4 seconds longer than I should have. But wait, I want to go back to the gear thing because Tim had asked that question. Yeah. So we'll finish that and then we can go back to this. So I think for me, I like my setup overall. I always like messing around and like tinkering with things. So I love the idea of trying the offset bracket that you have for the front stabe. And seeing what that would do to my back bar if I could just totally get rid of it, because with the lift I'm running way less weight than I have in the past. But I think for me what I would want to do, I've got the Stan heavy, like the brass thumb, and I want the clicker. So I still want the thumb, but I want that clicker in there. Because I feel like today what it would have done is as soon as I go through that click, I know if I need to, I can tap that last 10% and make that thing go. And I've been going back and forth, like mentally, I have a really hard time at this point just doing like a full-on punch, like just full-on from the start, just single-digit manipulation, boom. But I feel like with the clicker, you're so close to the end, I wouldn't have a problem just kind of nudging it over the edge, and I think I would have cleaned up some of my low shots today with that.
Yeah, your miss is probably low today, right? Dropped out. Yeah.
Traditionally, that's where I'll miss, yeah.
And then one thing you liked about your setup?
I changed to 29.5-inch mods versus 30-inch mods, and I feel a lot more stable.
Probably held way better uphill, downhill.
Yep, for sure. And so I think I should probably be 29 3/4, and that would be good and comfortable for me. But 29.5, I think today really allowed me, especially with no warm up. For me, normally I'd probably shoot 20 arrows and then want to go out, but to go no warm up, I still felt really stable, which I really liked.
Yeah. That's like one of the things that would be cool to see from Matthews in the future is quarter draw.
Or
infinite draw length adjustments. Like that's available on some bows, right?
Well, I guess
the
the reckoning you can, but that's kind of a crude way to do it. It's hard to get it exact.
Okay.
I mean, the quarter inch is
quarter
fine.
inch is plenty. I mean, then you can twist
if
for
you're
a
not
16.
the one stuck in the modules.
Well, that's the problem. That's what I still hate about that freaking bow, dude. I've got like 6 sets of modules at my house just
200 mods to 400 mods to cover every one choice.
That's true.
That's a lot, dude.
Yeah, but we don't care about you. We want you to
I know
service,
you don't care about
service our
this.
needs.
This is clear.
Service our needs. I want you to stock all that stuff so I can go in and go,
Service
Josh,
your needs.
I want
I think you're looking at the wrong business.
I want 70% let off, 80, 85. I want 70 pounds. I want 75. I want 80 pounds. And I want 29.5, 29 3/4, and 30. I just give it to me.
Hey, if it's in all fairness, I'd want a 1/4 inch mod position as well. I really would, because like if we're talking about what we would do differently, what we liked, right? I mean, one, I'd probably put more than 50 arrows through my bow before I got here. Yeah. 1, 2, I can guarantee you my bow's probably about a 1/4 inch long right now, because I'm usually about 30 1/4, and I put a 30.5 on it and just shot it and went. So when I did up and downs, they were harder, and I'd get a little bit more erratic pin float.
That makes sense.
For sure. I would probably, as we were talking about earlier, I'd probably go with a heavier arrow. If I knew what we were coming to, I would, because I know how it reacts in these situations. And if I knew that a lot of it was going to be loft over type stuff, you'd want more loft in it. Yeah. Right? And if I did nick things and we're shooting in wind, it wouldn't deflect as far. And I grabbed a new axis because I was trying to shoot exactly what I would hunt with in like August, right? And so I'm shooting one I grabbed. I can feel the trigger moving a lot before it goes off. Like you guys, you played with my release and said it's a hot button. I was like, I can feel that thing move for 3 seconds before it goes off, and I didn't want to dick with it. Like I don't want to touch it. I don't have time. Right, so I got release movement I'd take a 1/4 inch out of the bow if I could, and I don't know if I'll
on the axis you can adjust the release movement?
Oh, I know I can. I know I can, but I didn't want to touch it because if you get it too light, it won't stay shut. So, and you're basically lowering the tension a little bit because the tension is created by the travel movement, right? So it would feel a little heavier if you left it where it was. If I adjusted it out, it would feel even lighter. But I don't need a lot of pressure on it. It's ill prepared and not understanding the environment. Like if we come back to this shoot again, I won't shoot that way. I will put a heavier arrow through it because it's very likely to be windy. It's a lot of stuff in the way and a lot of lob.
750 grains.
No,
800
I'd probably
grains?
I'd probably go closer to conventional. Like I'd shoot 450, 475, probably somewhere in there with 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Because that would be more than enough. Like, I mean, if the difference between my loft and your loft is like 30%. If you look at the arcs.
Oh, we're going to have some really good visuals.
Yeah,
of
you'll
that.
get good visuals of that, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where that's very beneficial, but it's not in the wind, and it's not when there's crap in the way.
Yeah.
And especially stuff in between you. So that's just what I would change. But, you know, my bow's good. It's not that. I'm not used to it at all.
Yeah, but
And
that's really good feedback,
I've
though,
shot
I
a
think.
Bowtech primarily for like 9 years.
Yeah.
And it's not a Bowtech.
Yeah. They're different for sure.
It's different. And I'm still trying to get used to the
It's a
grip I put on it.
relationship.
It is, and I
know?
didn't have enough time into it, and that's my responsibility. You know, that's on me, and it's what's more important right now, and where should I be putting my time? Because I'm spread real thin. That's just
Yeah, I mean, you
where I'm at.
run one of the most successful shops in the country. So we
Which is
understand that you
amazing,
don't
by
get
the
to
way.
freaking shoot a lot.
I run like 5 businesses at once.
Yeah.
Overall, man, it was cool. We kind of got a little bit of everything today. Long, flat stuff,
Yeah.
downhill stuff,
a
uphill
good
stuff,
mix.
side
Tunnels.
tunnels, dark, light, like all different sorts of lighting. And I think that's a part of archery that people neglect a lot, especially in target shooting outdoors.
Lighting.
is
Yeah.
super
Huge.
key. Yeah.
It's huge.
It's,
The target looks so much different in a dull lighting versus a super bright lighting.
Our morning was weird. It was dull and flat. And
It
we
was
had some
very
tunnels that
flat.
made it even more dull and flat.
Yeah.
Against dark targets, right?
Yeah, and I remember this morning, all of us were like, I can't see it super well, but you
Can't see
know,
it super
like,
Josh
Can we
said
walk
that
up
on
there
that
and go
freaking
back?
Warthog and they shoot an absolute 12, dude. That was kind of cool. That was a cool way to start.
yeah,
I can't see anything with the whack. Center.
you gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yeah, some good targets today, 125 yarder. We all 5'd it, unfortunately. No, Brandon got an 8.
Brandon
I take
got
that
an 8.
back.
Brandon pulled it
Brandon
out.
got an
Wait,
8.
how wide was the line that I pulled
Now,
on?
what's
Did I
funny-
walk on
That's right.
That
That's
one
funny
was
why-
just the end.
Well, what's
but-
funny about that is that was the moment where I was like, hey, what elevation are we at?
Yeah, you asked
that's
me.
right.
You know, like 200 feet, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's
Because
low.
we live in 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same, yeah.
So
I should have looked
at
up
shooting
the
that kind of
elevation.
distance, we're going to hit lower.
Which I should.
We're
I
well
should have
sighted
looked
in
that up
2,000
in
feet.
my-
I'm curious
We're
what
like 200
I'm
feet.
curious what we are.
Check
though.
your onyx.
So,
real quick.
because Tim started going, is it the humidity? Is that what's making? Because Tim and I's arrows hit the exact same height when we shot. Like, exact. Like, they were, mine was a little left of yours.
And I'm not perfect from 125, but I know that broke in the middle of the body, and I was.
We're at 1,000.
But you did,
The
to
other
be
thing
fair,
is the
have
humidity is
wild-
interesting.
Yeah, that could have something to do
But
with
then
it.
you
Wild
adjusted like
Yeah.
5
I
yards.
added
and took-
like 4 yards and
You
took
all
another
gotta
one,
watch
and
that
you were
video.
right at the right
Tim
time. Yeah,
has
right,
just
right.
a silver Sharpie for his 125, 130, or no, what? It was
No,
110, 120, 130.
120.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Sharpie dots.
I love it.
Yeah, my
love
little redneck mark system.
Dude, I didn't even have to use my bottom pin. Like on the Ultraview, so at 125
Yes.
on that slider, I've still got that
Center
little
housing.
TAC bonus pin.
Yeah.
Didn't have to use it. Didn't have to put my cock vein down. Tons of room.
I put the cock vein down for sure.
Tons of. Oh yeah, you did for
Yeah.
Dude,
sure.
I was center pin and I had 30 yards to go before I'd even have to use the other pin. But that's
It's because your arrows
that's-
are going
it's light.
Your arrows are
30%
crazy
faster.
flat.
Yeah,
dude.
Crazy
it's-
flat.
you get a lot of advantages, but just because you have advantages in one thing doesn't mean you don't have disadvantages.
You mean there's trade-offs when it
There's-
comes to arrow
there's
setups?
benefits.
There's
and
benefits and
there's
there's-
costs.
Yes.
And
There's
then
benefits
there's
and costs to everything, and you have to weigh out what's important to you.
and then there's friends with benefits.
There are.
Like
That's the
those
thing,
two
too.
over there.
Well.
Did
don't
we
know
make it to
Tim's
friends
number
yet? There was a
Yeah,
there
we
was
still
a
haven't gotten
friend.
Tim to acknowledge his number,
Yeah.
so it's hard to say.
It's high.
There was
high.
There was friends
It's
and
high,
there
and
was
I think it's
acquaintances.
exaggerated.
Yeah, friends and acquaintances.
Friends and acquaintances in this house.
Oh,
We're waiting
100%.
until James will tell us who is the acquaintance.
Yeah,
Though,
we had
who
to wait
isn't
till
told
after
us
pool
yet.
tonight.
Yeah,
If Tim
yeah.
kills us all again.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
I think you ran the. No,
brutal.
we won one game as a
Yeah,
team.
he was awesome until we did teams, and then he sucked.
Dude, that was
Crafty
he
ball.
sucked today when he was my teammate. Remember?
I know, doesn't that suck? He's not a good teammate.
Listen, you.
Why?
He needs to be individual games.
Why isn't Joe Rogan here? We have pool, we have archery, we're within 90 minutes of his locale.
Last time I checked, he had a charitable thing he had to go
He's
do.
got he's got like a life, you mean?
Yeah.
He does. You think you guys get hammered at one of these events?
Could you
Can you
imagine?
imagine Rogan
Oh, my
coming into
God.
one of these things and
Yeah.
just walking around, dude?
Yeah.
Nonstop.
It would be a nightmare.
Nonstop.
Yeah, but I think people, for the most part, are respectful. You know, I'm sure you get mobbed or whatever. I mean,
I don't mean he'd be like wounded mobbed, but there would just be a line of everyone.
yeah,
There would just be like, this is the only chance I'm ever going to get to take a picture with this dude. Let's do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he would be the real deal for sure.
But it is amazing how many people get intimidated to do that, though, right?
I think it takes a
There
lot
was
of
actually
courage
more
because-
today that I'm used to of people being comfortable to be like, hey, can I grab a picture? Because
Yeah.
a lot of times, and we talked about it earlier, people won't ask the question because it's like kind of weird. But today, or they think it's kind of weird. We don't. But today, it was a lot of people that were,
Yeah, there was a lot of
hey,
people.
can I grab a picture?
Yeah, there was a ton.
Of course.
My
You know?
favorite part was when I would take somebody's camera and then take pictures of like Tim and Josh with them. Yeah. And I was like, they don't know who I am, which is hilarious. And kind of, it's
There were a couple that went, "Hey, I like your stuff too." When you're holding the camera,
oh yeah, that's right.
You know,
That
there's
part
a
is-
couple of
That's kind of like the charity.
That's a-
well, maybe
that's
if
a-
you
that's a
posted more
charity,
than
yeah.
once every 4 months.
That's valid. That's valid. I always say I got to get back in the flow. That's a hard thing to do, man. Like that's one
a
thing I'm
commitment.
so impressed with all of you guys is how you just say we're making videos and then you make videos and you put them on the internet. Like it sounds so easy when you say it that way, but when you actually sit down and like, okay, let's rock and roll
Yeah.
for a long time. Like let's do this for 2 years, 3 years. It's amazing. I saw a lot of people that had cameras that you could tell were like, let's do it. I'm going to start a YouTube. This is going to be the thing. This is my starting tack. I talked to 2 people
Oh, that's cool.
who said, like,
so-
I just got stuff. This is what I'm doing. And I was like, no one's going to watch it first. And that's okay.
yeah.
Because no one watched any of us at first.
Yeah. No.
I guarantee
maybe
you
you
that. I guarantee you, bro.
Well,
You go look up our
I
first
had an
video
unfair
6 years
advantage.
ago.
You did.
I had an unfair
I don't think it
advantage.
was an unfair advantage. You paid your dues in
You
an
paid your
industry
dues,
for
yeah.
about
Well,
but
your
even-
entire life.
But even when I first started being involved in something, there was already a decent subscriber base to it.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So-
That's true.
So because of that, I had an unfair advantage.
But you
even,
earned
even though I
Yeah.
earned it. My knowledge and experience kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So
For
it's,
sure.
it's valuable at that point. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
still feel it's kind of an uncomparable thing for the
Yeah.
average person.
To just do it, literally go
what
from
both-
complete
like what both-
obscurity.
yeah, like what both of you had to get through just to get to where YouTube would acknowledge your existence,
Yeah.
right? Because you got to
Yeah.
get 1,000 before they'll even acknowledge your existence.
Yeah.
I had 1,000 in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of you had a year.
Dude, it
So
took
that's
a
not very
year
fair,
almost, yeah.
Right?
But dude, it doesn't matter. Like
It
It's
kind of matters.
persistent.
I'm kind of.
Well,
I
no.
listen, no. I want him to give me 20 yards on every target tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like the sticks at
Handicap
88.
him.
I want to move to 68.
That's actually a good topic. So we knew our teams today. So I guess the only solution is to trade us two. So who wants
gotta
who?
divvy.
You guys
Well,
got to
I mean,
choose
it's
right
our
now.
video, you know, we'll just figure it out.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, we
gotta
gotta
decide
spend
what
the
you
year.
I
want
mean,
to do. I
Josh
gotta
can do
decide what I
whatever he
wanna do.
wants, I can do whatever I want, you know.
Let's go.
Captain's
Let's go.
choice.
Oh, that's right.
So it's whatever I want to do.
You guys are going to be
So
our
I can
little-
force you into a legitimate number. People are going to be like, "What are they talking
What are
about?"
you talking about? You will never know.
If
You'll
one
never
person
know,
gets
we're
it in
not
the
gonna tell
comments,
you.
that would be
You will
insane.
never know.
Are you talking about this? You're not going to reply, but you're
Like
going to go.
somebody overheard that conversation. They had to have.
Oh, out here, someone.
And what are you leaning towards for tomorrow? You have
2v2.
just 2v2?
2v2, yeah.
Same.
Mix up the teams.
You'll do
2v2.
2v2 as well?
Oh, no. I was
Oh,
saying he's
okay,
saying
okay,
so.
okay.
I'm trying to decide what I want to do.
But that's what I'm saying. I think, like, because you're
really
mixing
like
up
the
the
2v2s,
teams.
it's fun.
I would be interested to hear, like, no random. Who's first? Josh was higher scorer today.
Maybe random. Maybe we go high score, low score. Maybe
I think
we
he gets to pick his teammate of you two,
we'll do
and
whatever.
then you get the other one.
That's fair. Or
'Cause he's
he,
the first
or he
round
can
draft
be the
pick.
one to spin the stick, spin the arrow, and then
Yeah.
whoever it points
Yeah.
at, that's his man.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's the
I
fair
like a
way.
little bit of randomness too. I mean, depends.
Well, to me, I think the appropriate thing would be that just because we can do stuff together all the time.
Right.
We can't.
yeah.
And you can't.
Oh, so you two, us two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a phenomenal.
I think that's, well, yeah.
I think it's good.
I
Tonight
think
I'm
there's, I
gonna
think there's
sneak
already
in.
I think
internet
we
beef.
got. I think we got
there's
that.
already internet
I think
beef.
we got that
know what
easy, dude.
I think I could feel the beef.
Yeah.
No, that'll be fun.
Fear
Are
the
you doing
beef.
the 2v2?
I can see arrows flying into
Also?
12s already.
I don't know. I literally haven't decided.
Can't wait for the wild
I
card.
was trying
Yeah.
to decide what I do there.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Just save it till your targets and go, all right, here it is.
But are you going to do 2v2 and points or 2v2 best ball kind of thing?
Well, 2v2, I gotta think
Oh,
about
that'd be
it. I
interesting
mean,
if you did an accumulation of the points.
I like best arrow, total score. I mean, it's super fun to do match play, but the risk of match play is, if you go 4 up through 12, well, you're 4 up through 9 with 12 targets, it's over. So then the story's over. I want to shoot all 12 targets. I think that's a good.
Yeah, but you just have to, you just edit it real fast at the end. And then, oh, we got our asses kicked by Josh and Brandon. That's sad. By the 9th hole, they had already just cleaned the floor with us. Oh,
I've never played match play
James, how
in archery.
competitive are you on the inside?
I'm competitive.
On the
for
outside,
sure.
you're not visibly competitive.
No, I've been an athlete my whole life, right? Whether it was baseball
Did you just lead off with
or
I've been an
biking.
athlete my whole
No, I have. So I've always competed.
What were your main sports?
Baseball and bike riding.
Archery,
So I was a pro
bowling.
bike rider. And bowling.
Darts.
I would have guessed wrestler.
No. Yeah, so biking, baseball, and then archery my whole life. But
Biking, baseball, badminton.
yeah, all the bees, all the bees. But yeah, no, I'm super competitive. I want to have fun and talk shit and have a good time. I'm gonna have fun if I'm getting washed. If
See,
Brandon
would you though?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
If
I
you were
wondered.
killing me today,
okay.
I'd be the same.
But inside, you're like,
Oh, dude.
what
Yeah,
is happening right
I want to
now?
be the most fun and also beat your ass.
I got to punch so much faster.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Are you competitive?
Yeah, it's evolved a lot. I was in high school. I was probably a little unhealthy competitive with my friends a little bit, and then as I gotten older, I've gotten, I still want to be competitive myself and do good at stuff, but it comes and goes in waves and different things of what I'm doing. But CrossFit really taught me to lose my ego, I guess, because no matter what you're good at, there's someone better at the thing
course.
that you're doing. So you get beat a lot, or even if you're not getting beat a lot at the local level, you get beat at the regional level or even further. So it just taught me to lose and handle it.
It taught me to be a loser.
And handle it
Yeah.
handle it gracefully. And
No, it
just
makes
know that
sense.
you got to run your own race and do your best at.
Yeah.
Which is cool about the individual sports because it's it's you versus you.
It's just you, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
got-
you're shooting against people, but it's you versus you.
Yeah. Did I get better than last time? If
I get
was
more
worse,
competitive
why?
the better I get at a thing. So with archery, I'm pretty good at this. And when I stand at home and no one's watching, man, can I put a group together?
Yeah, exactly.
But I legitimately, as I got better at archery, I there was the kind of this expectation of a floor. I'm not going to be worse than this.
Yeah.
And
Not the worst thing you can tell yourself in a pressure situation. Case in point, Vegas. Oh my God! Don't
Yeah.
ever tell yourself that.
So I've never heard this story. I heard you guys both mention it, but I have not heard it. So was it just disaster?
It was a complete mental breakdown. Actually,
First one in competition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put a tale as old as time here for me. I put a title together a week and a half before I left. I shot 4 scored rounds with it, or 5, and rebuilt it after the second one. Ripped the rest off, ripped the side off, redid this, redid that, right? And I haven't shot indoor competitively in over a decade. And I shot a 298 on the Saturday before I left, practicing in the evening at the shop with nobody there. And every time I'd shot a scoring round, it was a little higher. I think my first scoring round was a 292, and the scope was shoved up against the side of the riser because I tried to bridge lock it and couldn't move the scope over enough to get the orientation in the right spot. And was keep moving it to the right, and the scope was turning sideways, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I still shot a 292. Right? I'm all right, well, I'm not going to make a fool out of myself, right?
You figure you're gonna mid-90s kind of thing.
I'd be in the mid 90s to high 90s. I'm all right, that's not embarrassing, right? For never shooting. So, and I show up and shoot the first one. I shoot a 96 or something like that, I think. I was all right, that's probably an average in a stressful situation. So I'm okay with that. And I try to remember what I told myself. I was when I go up to the
I'm gonna
second
sneak
day,
a beer. Do you guys want one?
yeah, when I go up to
Sure.
the second day,
Thank you, Tim.
I
Just give me
had
a thumbs up.
I'd take one more too.
I had told myself, well, at least there's no way you'll shoot as bad as you did the first time you shot the bow. And I shot worse than I did the first time I shot the bow. And I put that thought in my head,
Oh, yeah, okay.
right? And as soon as I got below a 292, they all went in the middle. And things stopped moving. Like my pin kept breaking at the apex of its movement.
Yeah.
Every time it went off.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
hate
where the
that
arrow
feeling.
hit, no matter what I did. And it was like just outside of the 10, just outside of the 10, just outside of the 10, right? And I get that done. And the next day rolls around for the third score, right? And I said, well, at least you couldn't possibly shoot worse than that. And I shot worse than that by the seventh end.
Dang.
And then the rest of it was clean.
So what was the deal like? What do you think caused you to plummet so bad? You said mental, but what part of
It's
the
the
mental?
first time that I actually really got worried about how I was going to shoot. Like I was thinking about it, and I never thought about it because in general I don't fucking care. Like I don't care. It doesn't matter whether I shoot like a 300 or a 290 doesn't change the fact that I know what I'm talking about. And that's all my goal is to try to get you better at the sport, is to try to get more people educated in the sport, try to get more people willing to work out. No, he's the other. Yeah, that one's Brandon.
What were you drinking?
Best
Brandon's
Milwaukee,
drinking that
baby.
Dude,
Milwaukee.
I would not expect that out of
Best
bougie
Milwaukee,
Brandon.
baby.
I grabbed a couple.
The only problem is they've sat for so long, they're dirty as all get out on the lid.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
well,
wash
there's-
that
I would
off.
not expect that.
No,
out of
that
bougie
makes sense
Brandon.
though.
So yeah, I mean, it was like for a moment, all of a sudden, I actually really cared.
Yeah.
And I had gotten to a point that I just don't care about it, and I need to find my way back to that,
The not caring.
to not caring.
Yeah.
I do. Like
Yeah.
I still find myself caring about it a little bit because I don't want my credibility to go away because I don't, shoot perfect.
That's
You know
such
what?
an interesting
Honestly,
tie-in.
dude, it's crazy you say that because I really believe that even if you were an awful shooter, which obviously isn't the case, I don't think that, in my mind, discredits your archery knowledge at all. To
No.
me, the skill and knowledge are two different things.
Well, and I'm reaching a point.
There's some overlap.
I'm reaching a point because anytime I go to anything that involves shooting, I feel obligated to shoot. Even though I'm not there for that. I'm
Right.
there to interact with people. I'm there to help people. I'm there to change people's perceptions of things, right? That's why I do it. Because it does consequently tend to affect my business's sales, right? So it's not a negative thing financially, but it's not driven by financial. It's driven by growing this sport and growing people's knowledge and education about it and making it easier, right? So I shouldn't really worry about that portion of it, but I feel like I have to still participate, but I don't have the time to prepare. So it's a difficult situation for me to be in. No different than like this. Like I knew we're scoring. I guaranteed at one point it was going to be actual score against each other, and it's like a short amount. It's like 10, 12 arrows.
It's not many.
Which, the true reflection of that, I mean, how good somebody is or not, it's hard to represent that in that small of a window, but I knew it would matter, right? And I still couldn't make myself spend the time to know I was really solid and comfortable with what I was doing. Throw it together, get it functioning, and get moving because you have too many other things going that are more important. When the desire to make people better at this far superseded any of my desire to be good at it, it struggles.
Yeah.
And but I still do worry about that. I know and I appreciate that you're like, hey, it wouldn't change at all how I felt about your knowledge.
To me, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
that's
I
It's probably
think
a
by and
healthy
large
concern, though.
Yeah.
you're probably the majority of people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I still don't want to question the credibility.
I think that there's a lot of stuff that you talk about that is because you know what you're talking about because you've felt the feels of a dude who can shoot really well. But I think that this is interesting because I've met tons of people today that did the same thing you just did. Man, I just got new arrows like 6 days ago, and they were different from the arrows that before that.
got marks
and so
on my
I had to
sight
change
tape over the last
exactly,
one, yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, how many guys did you hear like that? Literally, had put their tape on the last week.
But here's the thing.
I heard a lot.
Those
Yeah.
guys would have been doing that 6 days before hunting season.
Yeah,
But now they're doing it to get ready for TAC.
that is the one thing that I would say that I don't ever do that when it comes to hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
My crap is dialed before
Yeah.
I go hunting,
Yeah,
and I'll
of course.
spend 3-4 weeks 4 or 5 nights a week, shooting it, dialing it,
Which is true.
perfecting
I've
it.
seen you do it, yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
you can't, and this the crappy
And this
part
I
about the
don't.
spot that you're in,
Yeah.
because you need to be shooting new bows every
Yeah.
year. It's not like you can just have this like beautiful setup just sitting that's 3 years old that is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon and I have talked about that a lot.
That
How
sucks
the
for
tried
you.
and true just like drives home. You can't do that because, to your point, you're testing
Yeah.
the PSE, the Elite, the Bowtech. That you're shooting them all. So how do you get like dialed with one?
Yeah.
You know.
Spend more
It's
time.
fun to shoot a new.
Yeah. No,
Spend a
but
lot
dude,
more time.
what you said makes sense to me a lot as, like I said, someone who likes to compete. I think that when you feel, who cares? I don't care. I'm just here. I'm going to do my best and have fun. Versus, I need to go out here and
Well, I
kill
think
these
it's a healthy
guys.
concern, though,
It's
right?
different.
I think it is too.
It just means he cares.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like that's not a bad thing.
No, I'm saying that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I understand the reference makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too because I struggle with that too with golf. Like I play less than I did. I still play well when I play, but you still want to represent that you care about your craft or
Well,
whatever.
and
you're
you've
good at.
learned at a certain point what your ability is, and it's
Yeah.
hard to display your ability less than you
Dude,
know
that would
it's
be
capable.
That
that'd
is
be
hard.
rough. Like if you're 300 counting X's and you're shooting a 292,
Yeah.
that's a terrible place to be.
Yeah.
But a 292 is still an amazing score overall.
Yeah.
Like for most archers,
Doesn't
they're
feel
not
like
going to
it.
shoot 292.
It felt like this is the worst I could possibly
I
functionally
totally
do.
understand, but that's
how
the
it
whole.
felt.
That's the whole thing. Is you guys at that level are trying to squeeze out like the last 2%.
Oh, and to get that last 0.5% is so much more work.
Yeah.
So much
So
more.
much.
work.
It's like it's like a reverse compounding. It's like the further you get along, the harder it is to get better. It's like,
It is literally a direct correlation to going fast, to speed. The amount of extra horsepower and torque it takes as you continue to go faster is almost exponential to get another 5 miles per
Yeah,
hour, 10
it's
miles per
crazy.
hour. It feels the
That's
same
a
way with
lot.
archery stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
being good at anything, being really good at
yeah,
anything.
but I
yeah.
can imagine being you and showing up in one of those places and be the combination, my reputation, and I know how good I have been in the past, and then starting to shoot bad would feel.
Knowing what you're capable of
Yeah, it
and
would feel really
producing
bad.
a lot less than that is difficult.
That would feel. That would be really rough.
when you know why, and you know that the choices that you are making and the sacrifices that you're making for the betterment of what you're attempting to do is why is a hard thing to
Yeah.
swallow, right?
It's like you can only be good at so many things, so you make your choice. I might want to be good at teaching and distribution, or do I want to be good at shooting my bow? Because there's some people who are real good at shooting their bows that, aren't teaching and distributing or whatever. They're two
Yeah.
different things, but there is overlap. If you had a Venn diagram, there's overlap, but they're not the same thing.
Well, you know how like nobody's if if you have somebody who's talking archery knowledge, and you're like, let me see you shoot, and they're like, well, I don't shoot it really. Like I just know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, where's the
That's a good
credibility?
point.
Then you'd be like, okay, hold on.
That's actually, I never even thought about it. From
Yeah,
that.
that's the
Yeah.
That's
that's
taking all the way back
difficult
to
part.
first
Yeah.
principles.
Right.
So no, I totally get it. I
It
mean,
is.
and we've I've heard Dudley say,
Dude, I watched
the reason
John
that
today.
exactly
Not
the
to cut
reason
you
that
off,
he's
but I watched him coach a guy on a hinge release for a half hour.
One guy?
One person. He's standing there for a half hour, showing him how to break a hinge and like how to adjust his hinge.
wow.
He went to the range, shot his bow,
Yeah.
came back. I'm like, that's attention to detail.
Dude, that's cool, man.
yeah. That's the guy who
Did
they're-
the
they're
hinge say?
seeing
Did
John.
the hinge say knock on?
No,
that
it
a
didn't.
knock-on
It was
hinge?
another brand.
With a knock on wrist strap?
No,
With a knock on
none of
shirt?
it, none of
with
it.
knock on
No,
underwear?
the guy showed up regular. But yeah, to the point, like people wouldn't stand there and watch John say that for 30 minutes if they didn't know or think the talent was there.
Right. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, it's cool that he's still willing to,
Oh.
distribute his time like that.
100%.
Yeah, it's super cool.
John, a legend.
Yeah, it is cool. Speaking of legends, I don't fanboy about a lot of people,
Ooh, okay. Yeah, here
nor
we go.
do I admire many people's content. Sometimes I'll make a chunk of content and I'm like, God, I'm
Yeah.
hard on myself. I don't even know if I like my own content
Yeah,
sometimes.
I got to experience it first today.
Yeah,
I've never seen Tim actually be like kind of fanboyish.
I was fanboy.
He was
yeah.
legit fanboyish.
I was like, whoa, who is that? Brandon,
I wanna
you're gonna
go-
wait.
like,
whoa, we got.
We were ready
I got
to go,
to
James
go
and I
talk
in
to
the
this
car.
guy. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
come
whatever,
on, bro.
We're
There's a
walking to the
stop.
car.
Yeah.
We walked by and
Who was it? The
was-
suspense is killing me.
It was Lee from Sequan, and their content is just so well made, and they've grown up on the platform of YouTube, and I've admired them from a long time. I don't know when I started following them, but I was like, wow, they're doing hunting, they're doing it really well, they're telling their own story, they're doing it uniquely differently. And then I turn the corner and there's Lee, and I'm like, dude, that's Lee. Like, and in the past, I would have,
like, oh my God.
been scared.
my
to,
number,
God.
my number
Yeah.
just went down.
Oh my God.
I would have been scared to approach Lee.
That's how we have to ask that question.
And
Oh my god! That's spicy, dude. Oh my god!
Yeah. Oh, that's
Tim's speechless
That's
right
no,
now.
but
That's going to be a great one for the Patreon.
Oh yeah.
I would have been scared to approach Lee, but just watching people come up to me, I'm like, oh, I want I want to hear from them. I want them to come shake my hand, take a picture. Like,
feedback.
I want that.
Yep.
And I saw Lee, and I was like, oh my God, I'll go shake his hand and introduce myself. And then we got to have a great conversation with him about YouTube and hunting and stuff. And it was just cool to meet someone. I really admire their content and content style.
And it's obvious, I think, for anybody like that who would show up at something like this, that they want interaction with people. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't show up to just be like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
yeah, and he's not standing in a booth of a bunch of product that he sells.
Right.
Too.
Right.
Right. He's just
Yeah, you just
standing
showed
there
up and
at a booth.
they're going to
And,
shoot tomorrow.
yeah, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
No, it's cool.
So that
it's
was-
the same with like Chris B. I've been to a couple events with him where just he's getting hounded the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But he wouldn't show up if he didn't want that to happen. Like, people want to say hey.
Yeah. It was cool. I was glad to meet him.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's neat.
Yeah, that was my fanboy moment. Which I don't have a lot of. Yeah, so.
Hi, Lee. My name
Hey,
is Tim.
in all fairness, you handled it very well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't look like stop
Grace and poise. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so
See
what are
these
we doing tomorrow?
Empty Coronas?
So we're shooting tomorrow. Did you decide?
We're shooting
Did
and
you
making
decide what your
videos
game is
tomorrow.
going to be?
Nope.
Dude, can you do one leg? Everybody, you just have to stand on one leg.
It's just too cheesy.
Sounds
It's
terrible.
more of a practice thing.
No, it's not. It's mandatory way to have to shoot a bow. What if an animal runs out and you've cut your right leg off a little bit on accident? You gotta get them.
Well, let's talk about this real quick. Josh Jones is sought out Keystone Light in Texas.
4 stores later, I found it. Hey, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So classy.
Good beer.
And I would have never
Milwaukee's
guessed
Best Light.
in a million years that Brandon McDonald's drinking Milwaukee's Best Light when he's always drinking high-end whiskey and
I
cigars.
either drink Primo or I drink the bottom shelf. No offense, Milwaukee's Best Light.
You kind of felt offensive there, Brandon.
You live near the bottom. I literally have looked for Colt 45 the last 2 places
You have.
we've gone.
You have.
And I haven't found it because I have not found it because I would love to just Colt 45.
Well, and I didn't know the cult following Brandon has of like this niche of cigar smoking, whiskey drinking men.
I know. I need to get back into the shtick.
There
No,
was there was
it
a
was
few people.
amazing.
There was a few people who approached Brandon who just like
Well, yeah.
blackwalled us.
And then there
They're
were
like,
a few. Yeah, there were a few.
Brandon,
more
let's
that were
talk
like,
about
hey,
cigars.
You used to make YouTube videos, right?
Shut up.
I used to watch you on YouTube, but you don't really make content
That
anymore.
was a thing. That happened a few times. You know what I noticed though? The guys that are smoking cigars are all older.
Yeah.
So like, it's not 20-year-old dudes
No.
that are
No.
watching you guys' content
Why would they?
that are coming out and like I got like classy statesmen,
high class.
elderly statesmen
High
that are
class
like,
hoes.
listen, we share this hobby that is great and elite.
You had an airline pilot. Yeah, I gotta
Yeah,
say
that
that's very
definitely had this.
statesman.
We're better than everyone else.
Dude,
kind of vibe.
that's because that's how I feel. I feel like I'm better
Oh, I can
than
see that.
everyone.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I definitely do not feel that way. I just like nice things. I like nice things.
I just like nice things
I
and money
adorn
and have better shit than
I
you.
adorn myself with Kuyu and Sitka. I like nice things.
Matthews, get you sick. Well, what do you think happened on the back today? Because you kind of turned it up too.
Yeah, so I realized early on that basically I had gone kind of outside of the mental process. I have a progression of words that I'll say to myself during my shot. And I had just gotten away from that because what I was doing in the moment was living in my back, just kind of making sure that everything was solid. and then kind of watching my housing dance in the peep, and just because I feel like maybe it was low light, and the pin's basically just like hovering over a mass in the distance, that I was able to. I got out of my process, but then when I got back into it, that pin would stabilize longer, and then I also realized that I'm hitting high left fairly consistently, and so I was actually adjusting, and I was aiming like, 5 o'clock on the 10 ring at 70 yards or whatever, to give it a little bit of movement.
Yeah, because you turned it around pretty good too. I mean, you joke that like I laid an egg on the front and then shot pretty good on the back, but you shot okay on the front, but you also turned it up a notch on the back.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because I warmed up
So
a
that's
bit.
a product. Yeah.
Got back into the
shoot a few
process.
arrows, get back into it. I shoot a few better if I can get a few arrows out, bust it out.
How do we get better? Like, how do we go from doing the scores that we did today to like, what would it take for us to do like 15 more?
The road
over
to
the day?
300.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think you can ask Josh.
Indoor is hard to beat from getting better at archery.
Teaches you so much
just
about
is.
your grip and your shot execution.
You're eliminating every other variable other than you.
That makes total sense.
Right? There's no wind, there's no light refraction, there's no distance. It's all exactly the same over and over and over, never changes. Right? So why are you missing at that point? The problem is you're not typically shooting the same bow inside as outside, and you really dial that bow in.
That's
inside. True. So if you treated that with your outside bow inside for like a month or 2 months, and then took it outside.
You think that type of practice would directly correlate to me getting better, higher scores at TAC?
1,000%.
Yeah.
You're going to be more conscious of your variables
Yeah.
because you experience the same ones over and over and over.
Yeah.
But for some people, and I think this to be true about indoor archery, is like some amount of time on a target face leads to shot anticipation. So do you balance that with blank bailing?
I don't necessarily agree with that.
No?
No. I don't get anticipation.
No. I felt it at the end of my indoor season, and I've always been pretty good about not having too much anticipation. And at the end of indoor season, I really felt it like it was a slow meter climbing.
Tim's shot process went from 40 seconds to.
Yeah, that's
what's
true.
more
I was
important
probably caring more about my score, right?
instead of making a good shot.
Yeah.
It has to be more important to make a good shot than to hit the middle of the
Yeah,
target.
the process.
Period. You have to care more about breaking a good shot.
Yeah.
And the second you don't, you're going to shoot worse.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to do.
I can authentically tell you right now, I wasn't thinking about my shot at all.
Yeah.
Most of the day.
Ugh.
But the beauty of indoor is, like, think of how many different variables went wrong on a given shot, right? We shot, what, 25 targets today, right?
Yeah.
And we probably shot half of them not great. Is that fair? Right? How many different things went wrong?
Yeah.
Right? When you're in indoor, the things you do wrong get duplicated. When you're outdoor, you have so many different things to blame it on.
Yeah,
Right.
that's totally
Right?
true.
Oh, I must have ranged that wrong, or oh, the wind took it, or oh, I healed that a little bit, or oh, I hit that branch. You just eliminated all that shit.
Yep.
Because the reality of it is, half of the time that's an authentic excuse, and half of the time it's an inauthentic excuse.
Right.
It's you,
It's the
not what you're thinking it was.
Yeah, it's the lab.
And the reality that you're always blaming yourself and not your gear is awesome, because you should be comfortable and confident enough with your gear to never blame it.
Yeah, for sure. Because
then you're constantly sitting there going, "Oh, my sight's off a little bit."
Yeah, but
or,
that's your fault too.
I'm hitting a little right.
Yeah, it's your fault too.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but if you spend 2 months or 3 months shooting indoor, you're blaming yourself, not your gear.
So again, we were talking about Supercross today because I thought it was Saturday all day, and then I realized it was Friday. But
Feels like Saturday.
I kept looking at the clock and going, "We have to go."
Yeah, I know.
James is going to miss a Supercross.
I know. But
James is very particular about his Supercross.
yeah, for sure, 100%. Big fan. Cooper Webb. Let's go.
Let's go.
So,
Brandon, is that past an hour and still counting? Will you look at that real quick? The record.
The 104.
Okay, so it's still recording.
It's over an hour. It's still recording.
Good.
Yeah.
I was worried it might cut at an hour.
I thought you were talking about this.
No.
No, the Sony's.
I
They
remember what I
don't.
was
My
gonna
R6, it'll stop at 30 minutes.
Those
But-
gummies,
Right,
bro.
which is why another reason you should convert. Or
I
whatever.
know. I've almost got enough points on the Discover card at this point, which is why I've been trying to pay for everything with my Discover
I know
card.
there was a back end to this.
That I could just
Yeah, he was trying to work points and try to get.
get me some points.
So I didn't have no business right
Give me
off.
some Discover points, no business write-off. So
He was trying to swoop them up, dude.
that's right.
Yeah. Speaking of business write-offs, if you guys need a loan and you're in the Nashville area,
Please hit me up. We do hard money loans on fix and flip houses. If you're in the southeast part of the United States, NashvilleMoneyGuys.com.
On the hat.
discount code Tim C on your loan.
Ooh, that's now decent. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
I think that might be
which
illegal
will
in my-
continue through the perpetuity of the loan. It's not a one shot.
Paid weekly.
Distributed often.
I like it. I like
That
it.
is too funny. I'm feeling my beer now.
Oh, dude,
How you feeling?
gummies, bro. I don't know if you guys see me in the pot. I'm doing this. I don't want to talk, bro. I feel like my tongue doesn't even work. I'm like,
Jesus, did I miss something good?
I'm like, I got a good thought. Let me say it, and then I start talking. I'm like, oh my god, bro.
Did you go to the bathroom and
you
splash
see
some
me-
water on your face?
bro, that gummy, bro, hit me crazy. That's why I'm not saying. I can barely talk, dude. Literally.
You are starting to slurp pretty good.
Oh, dude, that's why I would hear it and I would go, oh,
Get red.
Yeah, I saw that. I think so. James,
I swear on the outro, I'm not saying shit. Bro, I'm not saying a word on the outro. I'm gonna go,
Right.
rubber
baby.
if I try to talk, I'm fucked, dude. Oh my god. Yeah. Dude,
too funny.
I've been struggling half this podcast. I don't know, bro. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, this has been super fun. For sober content, subscribe to James's channel, Brandon's channel.
Yes, please.
We will have another podcast coming out, so subscribe to our channel. That stuff helps a lot. Leave it a review anywhere you're listening. I have a discount code for Josh's website that I would be grateful if you used to go to my carbon donation fund. I donated some carbon today, of which we will totally document. And any other closing thoughts?
No.
No,
Excited
really,
about
no.
tomorrow.
No,
Yeah,
just
it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
been a
just
blast.
get out and shoot your bow and work on you, man.
Yeah, get on and shoot your bow. We're right in the thick of it. We got more content coming. We're going to do another podcast from our little guest location here, and it's going to be awesome. So we'll catch you back for the next one.
See ya.
We'll see you.
That has to be the last one.
See ya.
See ya.